Let's talk about the Sainted Knight and Unicorn Overlord. So the Sainted Knight, in my opinion, is one of the best classes in the game. It makes one of the best party leaders, and you can't go wrong running one of these things. They have average to above average durability, which is nice. They have extremely high magic defense, and they can also negate magic like the Royal Knights can. Initiative-wise, they're kind of like average, but typically when they're supported well, they have little to no weaknesses, and they just enable a lot. So let's look at what these things do. So just like Royal Knight, you have 5 stamina, 300 mobility, and your leader effect is take less damage from magic assists. And the amount of damage reduction you get from this is really high. You will probably take 0 to 3 damage per unit hit, like per character hit from magic assists. It almost neutralizes them. It makes them very weak. It is a sword shield cav with 2 times damage versus infantry. Now it says it's ineffective against flying foes such as Griffin Knights, but when you run your team correctly, you will be freezing things like Griffin Knights before they can attack you, or you will stun them, or you will kill them. So when used remotely optimally, this is just arguably one of the best party leaders. All right, let's look at the skills. So some of these are new, some of these are just the same as the Royal Knight skills. So Hatch is a single enemy attack, grants the user +1 passive point. This is typically not the thing you're going to be using. You can use it in faster teams that kill quickly. I don't think this is the move to use, but you can use it if you want. Row heal, this is like one of the big value things. Restore moderate HP to a row of allies. Typically, this allows Royal Knights to fully heal your team as long as no one dies, which is huge value in this game because you will be taking a lot of chip damage from enemy abilities that activate instantly, like their enemy valor skills from the archers, enemy valor skills like Dragoon Dive. Sometimes they wild rush you. This will allow you to heal after you fight something, or you'll just be taking extra damage from like ranged assist, magic assist. Even if the magic assist damage is reduced, it still helps keep everyone topped off and healthy, because one of the main things that will kill your units is just taking a bunch of assist damage over several fights, and then that's what's killing them, not the enemy teams. If my team is built correctly, usually the only thing killing my backliners is just like range assist spam. Then we get Saint's Blade at level 25. This is actually quite good. Attack a single enemy, it's 1 action point. Physical potency 50, but it hits twice. So it already has similar damage to Hatch. And also grants the user +1 passive point if it hits, so it's basically the same as Hatch, but it has +25 potency if the user is at 100% HP. So it's literally Hatch, but does more damage if you're at full health. And typically, it's not too hard to be at full health when using this class. So pretty good ability. Typically it can kill. It also gets boosted by things like Cav Call, same thing with Hatch. But I prefer this to Hatch because it has more potential. Magic Barrier, negate the next magic damage dealt to an ally, also negates afflictions. This is one of the starting abilities of Royal Knight, and on this class it's still really good. It allows you to tank magic if magic gets through. Holy Guard activates before being hit by physical attack, block an enemy attack with medium guard, prevents debuffs. So you're noticing a theme here probably where it's like gets rid of afflictions, and it prevents debuffs. Same thing with Row Barrier. Row Barrier is fantastic for enemy mages that attack rows because it can completely negate a huge magical attack. So activates for allies hit by a magic attack, negate the next magic damage dealt to a row of allies, also negates afflictions. So this is like a hard counter to mages, which can be a problem, but in the right team comp, you'll probably be killing them anyways. But as a party leader, you get mobility, you get the anti-magic assist, like damage reduction, and then you also get really good healing and utility. And then of course you get Guard Call 2, deploy a sigil that reduces damage taken by 20% for allied units within range. This is decent. It's only 1 valor point, and for some of these late game fights, having a sigil that lasts for 20 seconds that makes your all of the teams in the sigils like zone more tanky is pretty valuable, especially if there's a lot of spam damage from assists and things like this. So it's pretty good. All right, let's look at the build I'm running in this case. So she is Saint's Blading if her own HP is at max, which usually it is, so typically she's gonna Saint's Blade. She will row heal lowest percent, so whoever is the lowest will catch a heal, then everyone else in the row gets healed. Row barrier if a row is attacked, and then powerful call the front row, which she will use this on Clive. And magic barrier is just a catch-all, and then holy guard is just a catch-all for like the condition. And then for equipment, Zenoiran Night Sword, max HP plus 15 to give her some more bulk so that she can actually tank in front line. And then physical and magical defense plus 4. This is a fantastic sword for tanking. It just enables any any sword units to be significantly tankier than they should be. All right, then we have White Rider Shield, stun immunity, guard seal immunity. Now this can be anything. It doesn't really have to be this in particular. So for example, you could run this shield, which I just got from completing the game. But there are other things too. Like you can get a cover shield. You can get like this magic wall if you want to. It's kind of interesting. It uses active points to tank magic. You could run like aerial guard, bestial guard, nocturnal guard, so blocks an attack. And if it's nighttime, you could also run like luminous shield if you want, like any of the utility shields for whatever condition you need to hit or whatever thing you want to do. So you could also run Scarlet and Azure Crest depending on what you want your other items to be. But there's quite a lot of shields that are good for this class. The magic defense shield, probably not the best thing because she already has high magic defense. All right, for the other items, typically I'll throw like a sapphire pendant or a lapis pendant on these, and from there I'll spam, like powerful call, magic barrier, things like this. Now you could switch this with Carnelian if you want to do more row heals and attacks, which is totally fine. Same thing with the Dancer's Bracelet. I would say the shield slots, pretty much their entire loadout is optional, so whatever sword you want them on. Also note, look at the magic attack. Pretty high magic attack, so they're pretty good runic blade users. All right, there's also things like this, heal 20% when using active skill. This is quite nice. But they're very good runic sword users, especially if you forge it, because the magic attack from runic sword gives 150 potency. So if you want just a higher damage hit, like if you need to target enemy tanks or something that's average or lower magic defense that's on the front line, which is usually most things on the front line, they can run runic sword, and it's very powerful because they do have higher magic damage than they do physical, by quite a bit, by 12 in this case. But I have her on a tanking sword because I've damage through my team, so I don't really need damage from this. She does deal chip damage. There's also other swords too, like Hailstorm Edge, attack a single enemy, inflicts freeze. There's always Crimson EP as well. Attack a single enemy, inflicts AP -1. Attack a single enemy, forces the target to focus on the user. Set a dude on fire. There's a sword for literally everything. There's even a sword for giving more AP. So, and there's also this. This gives you guard rate and health, so Meteorite Sword's a good option. Hallowed Blade's a good option, gives you health when you use skills and a little bit of max HP. There's a lot of nice swords for this class. I like this one because it gives you a little bit of everything, but you could run any one of these and you'd be fine. Now for team comp, typically I would put them on a team that has some kind of board nuke or row attack spam, which is true of every team. I recommend running those. So in this particular team, I have a board nuke that gets enabled by high initiative and quick impetus on a glacial rain. So we immediately freeze the entire enemy team. So we take minimal damage from the enemy team. And of course we have defensive and offensive curses needed. But mostly this team is going to use defensive curse in the front row, nuke everything down, and then Clive will last hit everything with a board or with a row attack that stuns. And then she will just heal and keep the team alive, and also negate magic if the enemies have like some quick magic. Now some enemy teams have witches in the late game, like in the middle game, like in parts of the middle game and late game, and the witches get quick cast and they instantly cast a row freeze. So having row barrier completely negates that. Also you can throw utility items on these. So if you need to cleanse specific conditions, they can have any one of these things equipped. So you can have like any kind of cure, so like blind cure, fire cure, poison cure, whatever. And they'll just use this in response, because right now she's just sitting on a lot of passive points, so she can use any utility that we need her to. So it's pretty nice for that reason. You could also have them do things like spam pursuit if you really want to, or use the healing pursuit. Restore minor HP to one ally above their limits. Activates after ally is healed. You can do things like this and like combo off of the row heal to give things temporary health to make them more tanky in like a boss fight or something. There's also things like Binding Guard, User's next attack is Guard Seal. There's a lot of utility things they can dip into because typically they're going to have a lot of passive points, and their active points will be used mostly on healing and chip damage. But the row heal is really nice for survivability, and the leader effect is fantastic because you have 300 move and you take less damage from magic assist. So it's just objectively better than this. Reduced wait time while resting is good, but because you can just use items to restore stamina or Valor to restore stamina, it doesn't really matter as much. So this is just an objectively better effect. So now if you're playing in some kind of challenge run, which I've been doing recently, then the wait is better, but it's a challenge run with self-imposed rules. So yeah, that's it for Sainted Knight. I think it's one of the best classes in the game. It does a lot. It gets you into heavily defended magic assist areas for free, basically. You take almost no damage from the magic assist, so if there's like 5 enemy mages on like towers or just in the area, you can just fight through those without any like additional buffs or effects and easily be able to take on those matchups. Now against range assists, you still will be taking decent damage from those, but in this case, the case of this team, most of these backliners are avoid tanks, so they tend to dodge it, and then we row heal afterwards anyways, so it kind of also counters just like low damage pressure very well, because you have a constant source of row healing. And unlike Cleric, who is more vulnerable to getting killed by enemy abilities like Arrow Storm and range assists, this is actually kind of bulky and has some decent defensive stats. So 24 physical defense, 54 magical defense. Like even if a magic assist hits this and it's not the party leader, it tends to take almost no damage. But yeah, that's it for this one. Definitely like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.